Hey everybody, in this episode we're going to answer the question, why don't the Active Directory commandlets in PowerShell return all of the information in Active Directory? Hey everybody, my name is Jason Yoder. I've been a Microsoft certified trainer for over 16 years and I've got over 200 PowerShell classes under my belt. Now this channel is about some of the questions I get in my PowerShell Security Plus or Azure classes. And a very common one I get is, why don't the Active Directory commandlets work? Well, they do work. So we got to take a look at how much information can Active Directory hold. So the entire Active Directory database can hold actually a little less than 2.15 billion objects, and well over 1 million of those can be user accounts. So I want you to think about this. If you ask for all of the user accounts and they include all the potential information that they can have, that's going to be a lot of network bandwidth. That's going to be a huge memory footprint on your computer just to store that information when you ask for it. And of course, it's going to take some time to transmit it. So there's a couple of safeties that have been built in to help protect your environment when you're working with Active Directory. Let's start off by creating a user account with a lot of information. So I'm going to use the commandlet new Get-ADUser from the Active Directory module. And you guys can see, yeah, I am most definitely populating a lot of information inside of this user account. Okay, let's go over to Active Directory users and computers, and let's see if we can get some information about this user. So I'm going to go under, let's see, Windows Administrative Tools, and we're going to go under Active Directory users and computers. I'm going to click View and go to the Advanced features so I can bring up some extra information here. Expand a datum, go down to the default users container, and there is my user account I just created for myself. And now I'm going to go under Attribute Editor. Now I want you to notice there is a lot of properties that are associated with a user account. Now, this is the reason why people think it's broken. Let's pull this information via PowerShell. I'm going to run the command Get-ADUser against my user account, and here's the information that is provided. Now remember, we saw a lot of properties when we were in Active Directory users and computers, but if you take a look at the properties on the screen, it looks like we're missing some. So let's run the command again, but this time we're going to pipe it to get member. Because you have to remember, when PowerShell delivers you information, most of the time, the author of the commandlet says, yeah, you know what, my commandlet's going to have 50 properties, but I'm only going to show you 5 by default. But all 50 of them are there. So let's go ahead and we're going to pipe to get member. And no, we don't. Those properties are not there. We have very limited properties. Well, let's take a look at the ones that it did provide. So I can see 4 properties here that are directly involved in identifying this user account. So I can see that we did get information on the distinguished name, the object GUID, the SAM account name, and the security identifier. Oh, and also down here I can see we have the user principal name. Now all of these properties can be used to positively identify a single object in Active Directory. That's why they're part of the default output. But what if I wanted some of those other properties? Well, a quick and easy way to see what properties I can get a hold of is to run Get-ADUser. I have the identity as my account, and then there's a special parameter called properties. Properties allows us to provide a comma-separated list of the properties that we are interested in. But if you don't know what the names of those properties are, well, do what I'm doing here. I have the value of the properties parameter set as a wildcard. When I run this now, I can see the names of the properties of my user object on the left, and I can see the values on the right. Now the properties, not property, properties parameter is just really one of those unique things with the Active Directory commandlets. Again, remember, all the other PowerShell commandlets, at least the hundreds that I've used, always gives you all the information. This is a safety mechanism. Now, let's go ahead and do this again and pipe it to get member just to make sure that these extra properties are now part of the object in the pipeline. So here I'm running my command again, piping it to get member, and sure enough, all of those properties are present, which means that we can use these properties in the PowerShell pipeline. Like, for example, I'm going to run this command again. Now, I noticed here that there is a property called state. Where did it go? There it is. There is a property called state. So we're going to call upon that with where object, do a little filtering. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to grab any Active Directory, or I'm going to grab the Active Directory user account for me, and then I'm going to grab all the properties and filter it where the state is equal to IN. And sure enough, the filter worked. Now, really, you don't need to grab everything. You only need to grab the properties that you need. That's going to help make sure that you have to transmit less data. It's going to have a smaller memory footprint on your device, and it's going to help your code run faster, particularly if you're working with a large number of user accounts. So here, I'm asking for just 3 extra properties: city, state, and home phone. And when I do that, bam, you can see in the output that we have the standard output, but we also have properties for city, state, and home phone. I hope that cleared up some of the confusion around whether or not your Active Directory commandlets are working. They are. They just have some safety features engaged. In the next episode, I'm going to take on the question, when to use single quotes and when to use double quotes. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next episode.